We welcome you to another live edition of the Sports Box, brought to you by our sponsor, Showcase Sports in Hammonton. Showcase Sports for the elite athlete. And by our friends over at CrowdPlay. Download the free CrowdPlay app today and check them out at www.crowdplayapp.com for details. Ladies and gentlemen, it's showtime. Paulie!
Welcome, everybody, to another edition here of Unsportsmanlike Conduct here on the Sports Box. We are back after a week hiatus. I know everybody missed us. I am Paul Macrie alongside Big V, Mike Velardi, here on the start of NFL free agent frenzy, the legal tampering period. That kind of does not make sense, but that's the way the NFL likes to do it. Gives about a 48-hour window or so for teams to negotiate, and then the official league year begins on Wednesday, plus March Madness. Selection Sunday happened yesterday, so the field has been unveiled. So it's great to have the NCAA tournament back after a year off due to COVID. And we'll get into a little baseball talk with spring training continuing also at the if time allows at the end of the show. But a lot today with football of NFL free agency and obviously NCAA March Madness. So what's going on this evening, Big V?
Nothing, man. We could jump right into some NFL moves that were made today. The Patriots look like they got a lot of money, and they're spending it fairly wisely, it looks like. I mean, they don't really make a lot of mistakes like the Eagles do. So,
well, the drafts are not that great either lately.
Right. A couple of their moves, they signed Jonnu Smith. I think it was like a 3-year, $50 million contract, I believe. $36 million guaranteed.
Four for 50-something. Obviously addresses a need at the tight end position. Since Gronk left, retired briefly, then came back, and is with Tampa now, they have not had a tight end since of any note. So they went right out there and addressed that need. Also addressed the wide receiver position, at least for the second tier of free agency wide receivers. Nelson Aguilar is going to heading to New England, 2 years, $26 million. I saw Kendrick Bourne, 2-year contract as well. He was with San Francisco.
Philip Dorsett just signed with the Jags.
Yeah. So also they did a big signing also earlier today addressing defense. They bring in a pass rusher from the Baltimore Ravens, formerly the Baltimore Ravens, Matt Judon, 4 years and $56 million. That's $32 million guaranteed. So that's the massive contract there to address their pass rushing need. So, yeah, I mean, we're off to a good start. As you mentioned, they did have second most cap space coming into this period. Obviously, this does not count now. We'll see by Wednesday when everything gets calculated, the official figures. But, yeah, they're off and running. And, as you said, they're spending it wisely. I mean, it looks like now, I don't know. I mean, they could definitely use another receiver. But I don't think it looks like, at least at the moment, if they're going to touch the top wide receiver market like Kenny Golladay, Will Fuller, Antonio Brown out there right now. But I would have to think he wants to go back to Tampa. As Tampa's going to bring back the band. They already re-signed a couple of guys last week. So, yeah, so the Patriots have dominated the headlines so far today, and we'll see, who else? Yannick Ngakoue. He a lot of these moves just happened literally within the last hour or two, at least agreements. Yannick Ngakoue, 2-year deal with the Raiders, so he's gone to Las Vegas. Had a down year last year after, all that buzz coming from Jacksonville, and he had a lot of success there. Then they traded him to Minnesota. Didn't last long in Minnesota, then went to Baltimore briefly last year.
Paulie, I got to use this. This is fairly new. I got to use this button. Hold on. We have breaking news here on the Sports Box. We had a feeling it was coming, but it's been made official. Eagles agree to an extension with Brandon Graham. Okay, we kind of knew this was coming. They just announced it, that it happened.
To lower his cap.
He's signed through next year, so he'll be a free agent. Or through this year, he'll be a free agent in 2022.
Right.
But what they did was they spaced out his cap money to try to get them under the cap this year.
Yeah, listen, ideally, you didn't want to give him that extra year, but if it's going to lower the cap hit, then whatever.
Listen, he's a true Eagle though. Drafted here, had a great year last year. His best year probably as a pro.
Right.
So listen, one more year, it's not going to kill us. You know what I mean? Even though they want to get younger, I understand, but I don't think that move is going to kill them.
No, and he's the longest tenured Philadelphia Eagle right now. I think right behind or right ahead of Jason Kelce, who's returning as well. But he's had considering everybody labeled him as a first-round bust back in 2010 when he got drafted because they passed up on Earl Thomas, and Earl Thomas had a great run at safety, and obviously the Eagles could have used that safety position at that time, but.
Right.
He certainly has redeemed himself. He's been very revered here in Philadelphia. Obviously has a signature moment with the Super Bowl, the strip sack. So, I mean, he's going to finish his career here. He wants to, end his career here. And he's probably got 2 years left. So, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised after next year if he does retire. But, as you said, it's no harm, no foul thing. Eagles are not contending anyway this year. So, if they can at least get to the point where they can get under the cap and try to do something as far as really the only thing the Eagles are really going to do right now. They're going to bring in a backup quarterback. Jacoby Brissett, no surprise, is the connection right now. Haven't heard too much else what they may do, and I don't think they're going to really be much in the way of players anywhere else. I mean, right now – it's about getting younger. So
I'm just looking at the free agent list right now, and I know you guys don't have it in front of you. I wasn't prepared for this, but Deshaun's gone. Jason Kelce re-signed. But these are your list of people. Jason Peters. I would have to think they're not bringing him back. Hopefully not. Jalen Mills just signed with the Patriots. Nate Sudfeld, Roby Coleman, Vinny Curry, Hassan Ridgeway, Richard Rodgers, Cravon LeBlanc, Duke Riley, Corey Clement, the punter, Cameron Johnston, Rudy Ford just signed. Who'd he go to?
Oh, I didn't see you went somewhere. Else.
Yeah, he did. I want to say. Yeah. Hold on, it's on here somewhere.
Yeah,
he did sign though because Ike Reese was talking about it today. He was very surprised that the Eagles didn't try and re-sign him. Being that he was their, they're pretty much their best special teams guy.
Yeah.
Where's it at?
I hear you.
Who do you sign with?
Obviously, as you mentioned, Jalen Mills going to the Patriots. That was another move I actually did not point out when we headlined the Patriots to start things off. He goes there and wouldn't be surprised. Obviously, 4 years. I think or three. It was a 3-year deal, $9 million guaranteed or something like that. But it wouldn't surprise me. The versatility that he now displays, can play, outside a corner. He played a little safety this past year. Tried to play the Malcolm Jenkins role a little bit, and Belichick's going to use that versatility and see what he can bring to the table here in New England, and it would not be surprising if he does like what Patrick Chung did when he went back to New England. Actually, was a good player again.
Jaguars signed him. It was a 2-year deal. 2-year deal with $4.2 million. So they gave him a decent chunk of change for pretty much just a special teams guy.
Yeah, it's a good special teams deal for him. Yeah. So I mean, you got to take that money if you're being offered it. That's for sure.
I mean, listen, I'd have to think that Nate Gary is definitely not coming back. Like
you
I said,
think?
Huh?
Gary's not coming back?
He's a free agent.
I think they're
going to re-sign him.
He had a pretty solid year for them.
Nate Gary?
Or was it? No, I'm thinking of Singleton, right? Who was the other guy that they?
Alex Singleton's already re-signed.
Okay. Gary. Yeah, I guess he won't come back. I was thinking of Singleton. I'm sorry.
No, Singleton signed to next year already. I guess they gave him it's like $850,000.
Yeah, they don't like to pay their linebackers anyway. So
well, listen, that's got to tell you something. I think is it something where they go after somebody, and we're going to talk about that too because a lot of this free agency stuff. I know Brian keeps saying what everybody We know they're going to be bad.
Thank you, obvious.
Yeah. So, I think I was listening to the radio on the way home, and I try to do that a little bit just to kind of get a sense of what they're going crazy about. And they were doing the Eagles town hall today. I don't know if you've picked up on it.
Yeah.
And what I was interested to hearing was their whole thing is okay at number 6. If I think that we kind of wound down to them not taking a quarterback at number 6. I think that's not that it's off the table, but they're saying that 4 guys.
Yeah,
there could be 4 quarterbacks taken in the first 5 picks. Could be. Okay.
Yeah, there's going to be 4 or 5 taken, maybe in the top 12 or top 10. Right. So yeah.
But listen, where does that lead them? Okay, does that lead them to taking a Jamar Chase at 6 if he's there? They like Jalen Waddle over Devonta Smith. Their whole thing is that they, if like a Zach Wilson or somebody's there, I can see them taking a quarterback. I really could. You know what? I'm never a guy who likes to trade back. But if they have the chance to maybe drop to 9 or 10 and still get the guy they want, they have to do it. They have to do it because they can't take a quarterback in that spot.
Yeah, I don't think they are. I think the play would be to trade down to try to get some extra picks, whether it's in the 2nd, 3rd round, whatever it may be, as far as we are going to try to get back in that trade down. But yeah, because that one move, that whoever you're going to draft at number 6 is not going to make or break your team. I mean, they're not going to be a playoff team based off of who they drafted number 6 this year. So obviously the idea is
But their whole take on it is obviously if you're going to be bad this year, regardless, don't take a quarterback. You don't need one right now. Okay, so. Another thing is, can Kyle Pitts be there at 9 or 10? Like Reese made a great point today. He said, all right, let's say you take Kyle Pitts at number 6. He's there. That's the guy you want. That's who you take. How are you going to sign 2 tight ends? Okay, so you're going to have to re-sign Goddard eventually to a decent extension. Then you're going to have to pay Kyle Pitts top 6 money. So 2 guys on your team that are both tight ends are going to be taking how much money? You know what I mean? So that brings up another
I hear you, but I think Pitts is very good. He's probably one of the best tight ends that's come out in a while. It looks like as far as what his potential could be. And in this day and age, you need 2 good tight ends. Obviously, the Eagles have 2 good tight ends, or at least tried to have 2 good tight ends, but with Goddard and Ertz. But it ever seemed like both of them were healthy at the same time together. In the 3 years that Goddard has been, either Goddard was hurt or Ertz was hurt. So that seemed to be.
Here's my thing. Chris says they have to take Devonta Smith. Chris, about 2 weeks ago, I would have agreed with you. Listening to a lot of things and listening to commentators and experts, they call themselves. Jamar Chase seems like he's going to be a better pro than Devonta Smith. Now.
Yeah, if Chase is there, I'm taking Chase over Smith. But
I'm taking Chase over Smith as well. But they're saying that Jalen Waddle's the even better guy to take over Devonta Smith. Devonta Smith is a new.
They're so close together. I think
he's a new Deshaun Jackson. Okay, pretty much you have the 20-yard line to the 20-yard line is where Deshaun Jackson took over. Okay, that's where he took over games.
I think Smith though is more polished coming out of college than Jackson is.
Listen, but was he a threat to get into the end zone inside the 15-yard line, Deshaun? You didn't look for him to catch a ball inside the 15.
That's not his game, yeah.
Right. So if you get a Devonta Smith, I think that they need a high-volume guy, a guy who catches 8 to 12 passes a game. That they've never had that. They've never had that. You could say, they had T.O. for 1 year. Okay. Jamar Chase could be that guy. I don't see Smith doing it. I could see Waddle doing it. I mean, I shouldn't say they didn't have it. I'm talking about wide receiver. Ertz caught 8, 9, 10 passes a game a lot. I'm talking about a true number 1 wide receiver. If you're taking somebody at 5 or 6, it's got to be Julio Jones, Calvin Johnson, a name like that where they could play all over the field and score touchdowns inside the red zone. I mean, that's what you have to look for. You need to develop a wide receiver like that. They haven't had one.
No, they haven't in a while. And I'd say Chase is slightly ahead. I mean, right now the receivers Chase, Smith, and Waddle probably, whatever order you want to put them in. But I'm going to put Chase ahead of the three right now. I think people just forget about Chase because he didn't play this past season. He decided to opt out. So maybe that's a little bit that happening. But I mean, you have an opportunity, obviously, either way. Even if they stay at 6 or trade down a couple of spots or down to, like, let's say 10 to 12, still have an opportunity to get somebody that's going to be an impact player. Not that you're concerned about being an impact player right away because it's not going to matter this upcoming season, but just somebody that you know they're not going to have to say, okay, you know, this is just a year for him to develop. Like we're thinking maybe with, you know, Jalen Reagor, I don't know. I think right now we really don't know, and I'm leaning towards Reagor. I don't think he's a number one, and I guess you would just take if he can become a semi-reliable number 2, and obviously what you want him to be, and that's, you know, a punt returns specialist, also a threat as a punt returner.
Well, that's what you thought you were getting with Reagor. So
right, and he did return one for a touchdown this past year, but I mean, obviously you're looking for more than that. But
just getting to Tony's comments. You know, taking a wide receiver in the first round consecutive drafts is potentially foolish. Flyers are up 1-0 on the Rangers. For you, it's hard. I want them to lose anyway. I don't care.
Right.
So, you know, I think the whole thing is, yes, it would be foolish, especially after the way they looked last year, not taking Jefferson, not trading down or trading up and getting the kid from Alabama.
Judy.
I don't know. CeeDee Lamb was the
one. Or CeeDee Lamb, the Oklahoma.
Yeah, Oklahoma. But my whole thing is I think at this point, you know how Howie and them draft. They want to look offensively. Listen, if Penny Sewell's there at 6, which he probably won't be, do you take that? They're talking about another offensive lineman from Oregon.
He could be. Could be there.
There's an offensive lineman from Oregon they're talking about as well. They need help. They are very old on their offensive line and getting there. Okay, so you know, Kelsey probably should have retired this year. They probably begged him to come back. Lane Johnson on the right side's okay for right now. Peters is gone, so you got Mailata. They're talking about starting him on the left side.
Not Dillard.
Yeah, right. Not your first round pick from 2 years ago.
Right.
The guy that they drafted as a rugby specialist in the 6th round,
exactly.
3 years ago. Yeah. But you know, like I said, if they're drafting for need, they could take Surtain. There's a bunch of guys they need. I don't know where they're going to go. If they go quarterback, I think it's stupid as shit. I really do.
Yeah, I think everything pointing towards they're not going to take. You know, they could take a quarterback later on in the draft, of course, but
they're going to Zach Wilson's pro day, though. Don't worry.
Well, they're just doing their due diligence. Every team
due diligence. If you're not going to take them, why go?
Who knows? Maybe the Bengals are going to be there. Obviously, they don't need a quarterback right now.
The Bengals ain't going to take him.
I mean, Miami could very well be there, but but the Jets are going to take him at number 2. So it's right now. You know, Lawrence is going 1, and Wilson's going to go 2 to the Jets. I mean, that seems to be the
how much
95% scenario right now. So.
How much is it going to take for the Eagles to jump up to number 1 and take Lawrence?
Everything is not going to be worth it. So
I'm kidding.
The Jaguars are.
We'll get that rumor started.
They're taking them. So
we'll get that rumor started.
Yeah, but just getting back to free agency a little bit. I mean, obviously, more things just keep coming in right now. As far as I saw former Eagle Ron Darby, he signed signing a 3-year deal with the Broncos. So he parlayed his fine season in Washington and is moving on to Denver. I think, I don't think he's that good, but, good for him. He had a nice season.
Carlos Hyde 2-year deal for $6 million with the Jags.
Yeah, I just saw that as well. So yeah, he's going with Urban Meyer and Jacksonville. Phil Dorsett going there. So obviously, probably the idea is to surround Lawrence with a couple of those guys, established veteran type guys on offense as well. But don't forget Jacksonville has James Robinson, who the undrafted free agent rookie this past year, had a tremendous season. So he's their lead back, but obviously Hyde's going to be number 2 for them. So yeah, we'll see what else comes in. Obviously, we didn't touch on the Bucks. Gronk's coming back. Obviously, no surprise. Similar deal than last year. It looks like agreement is 1 year, $10 million. They're bringing back Levante David. Who's the other linebacker they're bringing back?
Shaq Barrett.
Yeah, Shaq Barrett. Also, well, right now that you would have to think Antonio Brown's going to go back there. I would be shocked if he goes elsewhere. And we'll see if it's a 1 or 2 year deal. But you would have to think, the Bucks had just enough cap space coming into all this thing, and it looks like they're going to make it work to bring all those guys back, and really not really lose anybody. It doesn't look so. I
forgot about that. Urban Meyer going back with Carlos Hyde, a little Ohio State connection there.
Did he? I was thinking. I didn't know if he played there or not. I didn't.
We got to get Mike Gilletta's thoughts on.
I should say I knew he played at Ohio State. I didn't know if Urban Meyer was there or not. I know he was there with Zeke, but
we got to go with. We got to get Mike Gilletta on to see if he likes all these signings the Bucks are making, or they're making too much for him. He might not like these signings. Yeah,
Gilletta wants to rebuild, get his franchise quarterback. He doesn't want a 44-year-old quarterback with 7 rings.
Yeah.
Right, or 43-year-old.
Well, he doesn't want to repeat it next year. He probably wants Jameis Winston back.
Yeah, and just speaking of that, obviously Breeze retires. No surprise that he retired. He does it right at the nick of the start of free agency. Has his kids do a video, which was clever. So that was good. 20-year career is over, and they give. Well, it looks like they're going to bring Jameis back, obviously, but the details of it are still being worked out there. And it looks like it's going to be a quarterback competition going into camp. It appears Saints don't have much in the way of cap space, so they're just trying to make it all work out. Michael Thomas had to restructure his contract a little bit so his cap hit could be a little bit lower. Yeah, they're really not much room there to make. So we'll see how good of a quarterback whisperer Sean Payton is. If he can get Jameis Winston right and still keep Taysom Hill, I think Taysom Hill is still best fit as your do-it-all gadget player, tight end, H-back. Obviously play a little bit of quarterback if you need to, fullback. I mean, that's what he is. I don't think he can play quarterback full-time. I think they're going to give him a chance. But I would think that's Jameis Winston's job to lose, to be honest with you, because I think you want Taysom Hill to play in the role he's excelled at so far in his career. That's my take on that.
Cap guru Brian Attard. The Eagles need to give Rager and J-Jaw a year where they sink or swim. If they blow, they blow. You need to see what they are before you're using more high picks on a wide receiver. Asinine. And then media, Anthony, one of our other hosts, Fulgham.
I think he's got a good point there. Fulgham, it was a weird thing with Fulgham.
Yeah, well, he was the best wide receiver in the NFL for 4 weeks. Then they didn't throw him the ball anymore.
I was to say he was the best wide receiver in the month of October when he went off.
Didn't throw him the ball anymore after that.
Well, then when Alshon came back after the bye week, that was it.
Because we had to play him because he was making money. So
they played him. They played Fulgham less, and I think Fulgham started to drop some passes, but I think it was just. It might have been a mental thing in his head. Is like, I'm not playing as much. What's going on? I thought I was doing this good. Why am I not getting the snaps that I was getting? When I was playing well for 5 weeks. Certainly, he deserves another shot to see if he could play those type of snaps again going into training camp in the preseason this year. But I mean, I honestly have to agree with Attard. You have to see what you have, and and in Rieger and Arcega-Whiteside. I think you have to give them that opportunity. Obviously, let them battle. I don't think you just don't use if you deem that one of those wide receivers at 6, whoever you're taking that guy in the first round is the best available, you're going to take him in that spot. You're not going to reach for a corner then, or if you don't think that guy. So I'm not saying. I understand like Tony Quigley's point about also because you drafted a receiver this past year and you likely drafted the wrong receiver in 2020, that you might not want to do that again. But if he's their best available, then I'm going to pull the trigger probably. But as I said, do you trust the Eagles draft board to say that just because they're deeming it their best available player, is that really that top guy? So who knows as well. But I agree. I mean, I'd like to see Fulgham get another opportunity, obviously. But, I mean, it's –
Paul, we've reached the halfway point of our show.
Yeah, wow, already.
Yeah. And it's Christmas time in the NCAA.
Yeah. Yeah, we got to get into
March Madness.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're going to get with the madness for all you degenerates out there who like to fill out your block pools.
It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable we didn't have this last year.
I know.
And it's back.
It is back. And we're going to bring up the bracket soon just to kind of go over it. Nobody needs to see our faces. We could talk over it and kind of go over. We don't have to go over the entire bracket, but you could highlight some of your top teams and who you think are bracket busters. And you know what? I'm going to start first, Paul, because I know you're a fan of one of these teams, and you have a great interest in this bracket. So I'm going to zoom in right to that Showcase Sports logo over there on the right-hand side, our wonderful sponsor that we have. They're actually opening up a new location. We're not going to say where it is yet until they get their store up and running, but they are moving somewhere in Hammonton, much bigger, and hopefully we will be doing a show from there soon. But anyway, see this 5 versus 12 over here, Villanova versus Winthrop?
Yeah.
Villanova may lose that game. Okay?
Well, no, there's no question it could happen. I mean,
because they got their boy. Gillespie's out, right?
Yeah.
They are a very shaky team right now, I think. Okay, they're
lost to Georgetown by 1, but Georgetown ended up winning the Big East title, so who knows? I mean,
listen, I agree with Medio as well. I moved down to the bottom bracket, and I got Rutgers beating Clemson.
It seems. I mean, Rutgers is actually 1-point favorites. I think I saw.
I haven't looked at any. I don't look at any spreads. I go off of what I think.
I go by the spreads to give me an indication if there's going to be an upset. To be honest with you, so
okay. I'm looking at the right side. I also see Syracuse having a chance to win that game as an 11 seed over 6.
Who are they playing?
They are playing San Diego
State. Yeah, could happen. Yeah.
Absolutely. I don't know why I feel it. Jay Billis feels the opposite way that I do. I see Georgia Tech making a run. I don't think they're going to get to the Final Four. I can see them getting to the Sweet 16 in that little slide that they have. But the problem is they're going to face Illinois when they win the second round. So that's the problem. It's almost like, all right, well, they're going to get Illinois in the second round. If they beat them, they make a run. Obviously, if they don't, I could see Illinois going to the Final Four. You know what I mean? So it's kind of an up in the air there. Quake wants to know where Duke is. Where's Duke?
Duke.
You know what, Meads?
Duke or Kentucky.
I agree with you. I'm not buying Georgetown either. I think it's a joke that they even won the Big East, and they got lucky. And you got to hear this story about Patrick.
They didn't get lucky. I mean, they had a nice 3-game run.
Paul, they had a nice 3-game run. They suck, Paul. If the Big East was anything, they would never even been in the finals.
All right, and Colorado lost to who? Oregon State in the Pac-12 title? Well, who's Colorado?
Yeah, well.
Pac-12 is not that good. It hasn't been a good conference in a long time. So, I mean, Georgetown, I'm not saying they're going to go far, but they could certainly win the first-round game.
We got some degenerates giving us spreads and things already. Tony Quigley's telling us to take the over. We can take the over in this game. It's a lock. Yeah, my whole thing is, listen, you know, in that top bracket, you're looking at Gonzaga probably getting out of that. I also think that Ohio could beat Virginia in the top of that bracket as well.
Well, Virginia's vulnerable. Yeah, now
They're vulnerable as well.
Well, there's one reason why they are.
I could also
right
see
now.
Cal Santa Barbara beating Creighton. Now, do I think it's gonna happen? No, I think these are going to be close games though. Liberty down here as well, possibly on the right-hand side down at the bottom. It's a possibility. I also like on the left-hand side. Yes, I do like Colorado. Now, let me take this thing off the screen here so we can see.
I'm going to Georgetown on that one.
All right. You do that, Paul.
And this is the same Loyola Chicago team that went to the Final Four 3 years ago?
Well, that's what they're saying.
Sister Jean.
And you got Georgia Tech with he's an ACC Player of the Year, the kid from Georgia Tech. So
Jose Alvarado.
That's going to be a good matchup.
Not the Phillies, Jose Alvarado.
That 8-9 is going to be a great matchup. Listen, right now, if I'm, I mean, it seems like it's fairly easy, but if I'm throwing a Final Four, first of all, I think I'm going to give you another one of my zingers here. I think BYU loses in the first round to whoever they play, Michigan State or UCLA in that playing game. I think either team beats them, BYU.
I could say it because, I always like one of those 11-seed play-in winners to win the next game as well, to carry some of that momentum. So you have Drake Wichita State as one of the 11-11s, and then you have UCLA and Michigan State as 11-11s. So basically they were deemed as the 4 bubble teams that just snuck in. So,
I think USC might be a little – even if they play Drake, I think they might be a little tough for either of those teams. So I'm going to take USC in that one. But
you like Michigan State, though, against UCLA?
Listen, Michigan State, if it comes to listen, they faltered in some tournaments, but I'll take Izzo. I'll take Izzo over a BYU team. I'll go with it. Wichita State are frauds, Quig. I believe you.
Michigan State has won. They beat Michigan right at the last game of the regular season. Yeah. They beat Ohio State right this year.
That's what I'm saying.
They have a couple of notable conference wins.
They could make a run. And look, if they get out of that, they got Texas and Abilene Christian. Look at the bracket that they're in. Bama's going to be strong, I think.
Yeah, Bama's good. Yeah,
Bama's going to be strong, and I think LSU gets by. I'm reading Ant's comments as well. I do think LSU gets by the Bonnies, but it's going to be tough. So,
yeah,
if I had to take something, I'm going Gonzaga up top. I'm still going Baylor, even though they're ones. Illinois, like I said, if Georgia Tech wins that first game, it's going to be a tough game versus Illinois. I really like Michigan. I don't know why. I don't know if they're going to get out of that bracket or not. But if it's 4 number ones or whatever it is against each other, when it gets to the Final Four, it doesn't usually end up that way.
Right.
I just don't see how Gonzaga, who's been beating teams by double digits in every game, does not get to the championship game.
Yeah, I'm trying to look at a couple of the one St. Bonaventure is only 1.5 point underdogs against LSU. I mean, that tells you something. That game's going to be close, you would think, unless it's a trap bet. I don't know, because I guess you're trying to get people on the Bonnie side of things. But I could see Virginia just because of they have COVID issues right now. Like Tony Bennett, the head coach, said that they're all quarantined. A lot of the players are quarantining it right now. So it's going to be they play. I mean, good news for them. They play on Saturday, so they still have some time. And I would think that hopefully everything is good, knock on wood, and they'll be ready to play. But even then, they're going to be a little bit rusty going in that game against Ohio. So I think they're vulnerable anyway. They haven't had a great season. Obviously they're always traditional. We're going to slow it down, play a half-court game, really get after you defensively. And I don't think they really have, that one go-to guy scorer this year. So that's also been a little bit of an issue. So they're the last team. They are the defending champs. They are the last team to win a national championship 2 years ago. So they're coming in as the defending champs. But I don't think anybody really is viewing them right now as a serious threat to go back and win it. And I think one last point I want to make is the Gonzaga thing. It's just going to be so tough going into this thing as an undefeated team to expect them to have to make that run going all the way through. So I think they're vulnerable, even as good as they are, and they are the favorite right now to win it all, obviously. I think they're vulnerable for an upset. Maybe it's not on the first weekend, but maybe it's on that second weekend that they get upset. So we'll see.
Real quick, I was kind of listening to the talk show radio today and going over, the people who make the selections and the teams that don't get in. Can you tell me how a 26-4 Belmont team does not get into this tournament when they've actually been in the tournament when they've been worse? Listen, I understand.
Well, who's in their conference?
Listen, I know. I understand.
No. I'm saying who won the conference then in that?
What is that? The
Sun Belt or not the Sun?
I don't know if it's a Sun Belt.
So I don't know why I think it's like the Sun Belt, but I'm just curious who is. Oh, is Winthrop in that conference? I thought Winthrop is. But it's just tough. I mean, I didn't look at Belmont's resume, so I don't know who they're probably.
They haven't beaten anybody. They're in the same conference as George Mason and a bunch of these other teams. But
yeah.
Listen, it's almost like they're a mainstay in the tournament, because they win their division, they win their conference, so they get that automatic bid to get in.
Well, I mean, the thing was this year, the Big Ten and the Big 12. Big Ten and the Big 12.
They're in the Ohio Valley.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're in the Ohio Valley.
Isn't that I don't know. It seems like college basketball conferences are different, obviously a little bit different compared to the college football. But this year, the Big Ten and the Big 12 were obviously the two mega conferences. I mean, the Big Ten, the Big Ten got 9 teams, and the Big 12, I want to say, got 8 or 9. So
they lost to Morehead State in the championship game.
Okay, and Morehead State's playing West Virginia in the first round. I saw.
Right.
So.
Just saying,
Yeah, it's tough, especially
26-4 is not a bad season.
Tough. And the fact they played 30 games is an accomplishment.
Right.
A lot of these teams played less than that, it seems like this year.
Exactly.
So,
that's what we're saying. You got some teams who are 18-10 in this thing, you know what I mean? And 16-12. You're like, what?
Yeah, you had, I think, who was it? Colgate?
Yeah.
I saw
21-1 or something, right?
No, they've played only like 15, 16 games this year. Now they only lost 1 game. But I saw they played Loyola Maryland in their conference championship. That's the Patriot League, isn't it, Colgate?
That is the Patriot League. And
the Patriot League had a lot of issues, I think, with COVID because they did not play many games, those teams. I saw it was like Colgate, like 6-10. Or Loyola Maryland was like 6-10, 7-10 versus Colgate that only played like 15 and 16 games or something like that.
Right.
So you're talking about a Belmont team that played more, like double that amount. So I don't know. I guess in some ways,
they're 14-1. 14-1 this year.
Yeah, they only played 15 games. So I guess in a lot of ways, this was the year that there wasn't going to be a fair assessment of some of these teams. You're going to assess a 30-game Belmont team, but if Colgate wins the conference like they did, I mean, obviously they're going to get in. So
but look at this. Okay, so I would assume that the Ohio Valley, whatever the hell they're in, the Patriot League. They played back-to-back games against teams. So they played Army twice, Boston University twice.
They did back-to-backs. Okay.
Yep. Bucknell twice. Holy Cross. They played Holy Cross 4 times out of those games. 14-1.
Well, I'm imagining they didn't play a non-conference schedule. Then that means
they played Boston 6 times.
Yeah, they didn't play a non-conference schedule.
Actually, they played 4 times. One got postponed. They beat them 4 times.
I want to point out Chris Wilson talking about Drexel. We didn't touch on them. First time in the tournament since '93. Obviously, they got obviously the number 1 seed Illinois, who's as good as they get. So that's going to be tough. But it's good to see Drexel back in the big dance the first time in time after their conference tournament championship last week. So they're in along with Villanova, and that's it for the Philly teams.
The locals. Listen, Unless they're winning the national championship, Villanova has not fared well in the tournament early. If they can get by the first 2 rounds, they're fine. But it seems as though if they lose a couple of those years, they lost early.
I have a question. Yeah. Who is the Ivy League participant? Did Ivy League not have a season?
There was no Ivy League this year, wasn't there?
You might be right.
They didn't have a season.
They didn't have a season. Wow.
Yep.
Because I was going to say, usually Harvard, Harvard's with what's his name's been the coach there, Tommy Amaker.
Yeah, it's been Harvard. It's been Princeton. Usually gets in. One of those.
Penn
teams.
hasn't been in a while, but yeah.
You have Yale, sometimes Cornell.
So you didn't have an Ivy League participant this year.
No, I don't know who they probably just took another team with a better record. So
yeah, they just took one extra at large, I assume, with one less conference champion. But I mean, listen, we're here. Obviously, the schedule a little bit different this year. With
Jeremy's calling you out.
No, well, that's North Jersey. I don't like North Jersey, so I'm kidding.
Hey, that's not
anyway. Nice. Well, Rutgers is it's kind of local. I mean, it's the same state. Yeah. I mean, the Rutgers. What's his first time in the tournaments for how long?
They're going to win that first round game, maybe over your Clemson Tigers.
They very well could. Rutgers would have made the tournament last year if it didn't get canceled. So, but Rutgers didn't play good down the stretch. They kind of were a shaky team after the new year began. Because at one point I think they were ranked in the country as high as like 11 at one point in the season, and they ended up finishing They ended up finishing 15-11. So,
Paul, trivia question for you. You probably know this because you probably heard it already. Since 1976, what 2 teams have not been in the NCAA tournament that are not in it this year?
So they have the 2 longest droughts?
No, they have been it. They've been in it the most, and they haven't made it this year.
Kentucky and Indiana?
No. The other team that's not in it. Kentucky
Duke?
And who?
Duke?
Yes. Do you know the last time that they were in 1976? Indiana went undefeated.
Oh, yeah. They went undefeated. That's right.
That was Bobby Knight, 32-0.
And
if Gonzaga wins out, they will be 32-0.
I don't think they go into.
Paul, I just spew information, Paul.
Indiana fired Archie Miller today, didn't they?
Oh, yeah?
Or no? No. I'm sorry. What's his name? Who's the Indiana coach? Was it Miller?
They're talking about
somebody got fired today. I thought it was the Indiana head coach.
Yeah, well, they're talking about what do you call it going there? Archie Miller, you're right.
Yeah. Who are they talking about going there?
They're talking about they're saying throw the money at what do you call it? Either the guy from Baylor.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. And I heard another. Rick Pitino.
He's going to leave Iona. That would be pretty appropriate. He leaves Iona after 1 year. Yeah.
Well, listen. I mean, if you want a big name and you want to get people there, wouldn't be a bad recruiting tool either.
I think for him, at this point, he completes his legacy if he is able to have a nice run at Iona and lead, and lead that team. Not that they're ever going to win the NCAA tournament, but make them a perennial conference favorite in that MAC conference, and kind of solidify that he can win anywhere. Type of his resume. Not that, I mean, his resume or his career is a little bit tainted by some of the illegal things he did over his career, but and there is Gio saying good night.
Yeah, he just got a bath.
Got a bath.
Oh boy, Farabee's hurt.
Yep. I'm not even watching it. Is he hurt?
Yep. 2-0. They're winning, and he just got hurt. Another person on my fantasy team going to take a shot. Oh, he took a shot off his shin. Okay, I thought he broke his leg or something.
I mean, he could have, but
ooh, it's off the ankle. Actually, that's not good. Okay. Anyway, Paul, give me your Final Four if you can. I know we didn't touch on it, but
Well, I'm not going to go with 4 number ones like people tend to do.
well, listen, like I said, if you look at it though, the only other team I could see that I like in that bottom bracket is Alabama. I think Alabama could make a decent run as a 2 seed just because of the bracket they're in.
Yeah, I told you, I already kind of hinted at. I don't think Gonzaga's going to the Final Four, so I'm going to go with Iowa out of that part of the bracket.
Iowa they haven't.
They got one of the players. They got the Player of the Year candidate, don't they? So Garza.
Oh, Luke what? Luke, what is his name?
Luke Garza, right?
Yeah. Well, guess what? He hasn't really played that well recently.
Really? And I am going to go with, on the east side of the bracket where Michigan's the number 1, I am actually going to go with Florida State.
Oh, God. Man, you didn't have a lot of time to research, I think.
Okay. The 4 number 1s are not going. So,
well,
I
said that there's a chance that other teams could beat them, but I still like them all getting there, except for Alabama.
Yeah, I do like Baylor. I think Baylor's too strong. I think they'll get out of the South. And Illinois' got a good path, it looks like, out of the Midwest. It looks like. I mean, Houston's a number 2 seed.
Overrated.
I guess. West Virginia kind of been up and down lately, right? So I don't know. I'm gonna go with 2 number 1s. I'm gonna go Illinois, Baylor, Iowa. So I'm gonna go with 3 of the 2 Big Tens, the Big 12 beast, and I'm going to go with Florida State as my random other one.
Oof. Great chance Florida State loses in the first or second round now, just because Paulie's picking it.
Who they got? North Carolina, Greensboro in the first round.
Yeah.
UNC
Greensboro, one of those teams that shows up in the NCAA tournament every year and makes some hay.
Yeah, they have before, that's for sure. Yeah, and Anthony Amito's, I just looking at his comment, he said, "Look out for Texas." Yeah, I mean, if you're talking about a team with the momentum boost coming into the tournament, winning the Big 12 tournament title yesterday, right? They or the day before, they beat Oklahoma State in the Big 12 title game. So we know
Shaka's a good NCAA tournament guy. Brings his teams in. We're very prepared.
VCU, where those 1 year they made it to the Final Four, right?
Yeah.
Was that 2011, I believe.
Florida Gulf Coast at.
Yeah. Remember they had a couple of
there ain't going to be no Sister Jean this year, BS. I'm done with that.
I like those stories that once in a while, and I think we might get
You're a Tebow guy. You're a Tebow guy. You're a church guy. It's you.
Sadly, I haven't been to church in a while.
Unbelievable, Paul.
As much as one of my prime family members doesn't want to hear that again.
I know. Beth.
She might be tuning in right now, but
she probably is.
I mean, that doesn't mean I'm not. I am Catholic, but I just haven't attended a church lately. But
it's hard to make a comment about you, Paul. I know he's not making the comment about me.
Yeah. Yeah, we look good with the bracket covering us, right?
It's fantastic. We can see each other, though, which is even awesomer.
Yeah, we can.
More awesome, I guess.
And you guys can't.
Politically correct.
All right, so what's your Final Four then? You let me.
Well, like I said, I think Gonzaga wins the whole thing. That's my pick to win the whole thing. I go Baylor on the top, Illinois on the right, and like I said, I like Michigan. I think Juwan Howard's done a nice job. If that one kid plays, they'll be okay. But if not, I do like Alabama coming in as a 2 seed. I think UNC loses in the first round, Jeremy. I do. I think that
Wisconsin.
I think Wisconsin, even though they're not the same Wisconsin team, I don't think UNC's that good. I think Wisconsin could beat them in the first round.
UNC's always not UNC. Wisconsin's always a one of those programs that could regardless
Jeremy
of what type of regular season they have, they could be a threat a little bit in the tournament. So,
of these 3 teams besides Gonzaga, Jeremy has 3 teams I think are going to lose in the first round in the Final Four.
I mean, don't forget. Yeah, I agree with that. Don't forget that Wisconsin, what was it, 2017? They were 8th seed, beat Villanova.
Yeah.
In that second round, the year after their first national championship, Josh Hart was a senior, and then they had a classic Sweet 16 game against Florida. I remember at the Garden that year. So they, Wisconsin, they went to the championship game in 2015, lost to Duke. So they, listen, they've been in the conversation before, and it would not surprise me if they beat UNC. But the problem is, they're going to run into Baylor then in the second round, so that would be it.
Right.
You would think.
Yep.
All right, man. We got just a little bit to go here. What we got breaking news? The Jets. Thank you, Brian. It's hard. Corey Davis. Corey Davis, 3 years, $37 million.
I think I need somebody to throw him the ball, and maybe somebody to protect the line to throw him.
I like the deal, though. I think it could be pretty good. I mean, obviously, you have to think they're going to bring in Zach Wilson as their quarterback. So he needs what? So at number 2, you're not going to go obviously receiver. So you bring in a free agent receiver, and I think that's a pretty good contract for Corey Davis. So injuries have been a little bit of concern with him in his career so far, but when he plays, he's pretty good. So
yep.
But with the Titans, obviously with AJ Brown. They weren't going to keep both, I guess. So
AJ Brown's a stud.
So that's breaking news there. There's 2 weeks to go before baseball season starts, by the way.
Yes, there is. High school baseball as well. We get started.
Yeah.
Pitchers and catchers get started next Friday.
How is it next Friday?
Pitchers and catchers are next Friday, and the
season begins
April 1st for everybody. And our first game, I believe, is April 12th. Scrimmage. 2 or 3 scrimmages, then we get started around April 20th or something like that. Look out for us this year.
Yeah, how's it looking? Well, you haven't started yet.
I've heard some good things from some young kids.
That's good.
We're going to be a young squad. Well, we're going to have a lot of seniors, but we're going to be a young squad with the rest of our guys. Get ready. We're moving into a different division this year. We got Are you back in
a Cape?
We are.
Yeah, you're in a Cape, right? Yeah.
I don't know the exact details of who we have yet, but I know it's Atlantic City. Wildwood Catholic just dropped. They don't have a baseball team this year. I guess because of COVID.
Yeah.
Apparently, I don't know. Is this? I guess he's saying Odubel's a center fielder. Has that been broke yet?
No, but he's going to be. He's the favorite to win the job, especially after Hazley got hurt. Kingery, once again, hasn't done much in the spring to help his case. Herrera hit a home run on Sunday yesterday.
Yeah,
so
with a bat flip.
Yeah, he every hit, every contact he makes is a bat flip. But hey, he's going to win the job most likely, and we'll see how it goes. It doesn't mean he's going to stay with the job. Roman Quinn will be in the mix as well if he can ever stay healthy. But
Roman
looks like Herrera wins the job. Brad Miller's hurt right now. They're a little bit concerned with that. He has a little bit of an oblique injury, so it looks like he's going to. They say he could still make it for opening day, but they're going to reevaluate him later in a week. The bullpen looks strong so far, though. I mean, if you're just going to go by the spring training numbers, Jose Alvarado looks good. Archie Bradley's doing well.
Archie, Mickey Moniak, where's he at?
Moniak's, I think he still behooves him to start the year in AAA and get his at bat still.
Behoove.
Yeah, I like that word. It means benefits. But
no way. No way. Analytics. Get out of here.
You kidding me? Greg Kapler, he's all about the numbers.
Kapler.
He's all about those numbers. He can't wait to
utilize. I'm the one who gets fired up and throws people out.
You can't wait to utilize those spray charts.
Oh, I can't.
You're going to have charts made up, all that, diagrams, printing out stuff. You're going to need a printer in a dugout.
I'll be flipping up. What do you want?
But can't wait for obviously baseball season to get here. I'm sticking with that. I think Chris even said at 87 wins, so anywhere between 85, 88 wins, something like that. Looks like the fair number right now for the Phillies.
So what about Matt Moore? I'm hearing a lot of things about Matt Moore. Is this guy going to be a starter?
Looks like he's going to make the rotation as long as he remains healthy. He's pitching very well.
And Zach Eflin looked dominant the other day.
Yeah, so it looks like they got between Nola, Wheeler, Eflin, and Moore, they got 4 really good ones, and we'll see if it's Spencer Howard. I don't know if you saw, he's got some back spasms, but they're not concerned. They think he can make his next spring appearance in a couple of days, but he's battling a little bit of a back issue.
Yeah.
We'll see. But right now, even Chase Anderson looks good, but I prefer like Chase Anderson coming out of the pen as a long man. Yeah. But he's putting up some good numbers in the spring. So, encouraging signs from your bullpen. Brandon Kinsler also has put up some good numbers so far. So, just get through the rest of the spring healthy. Hopefully JT's ready for the start of the season, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, we're excited. Baseball's around the corner. It started to be nice a little bit last week. Then now it feels like winter again the last 2 days. So, yeah, I'm sure it feels very nice in Florida right now where they're at. So,
looks like the weekend's
and there's going to be, if the city of Philadelphia okays it, about 20,000 fans going to the ballpark now, which is nice.
Good news for Chris Wilson and his season tickets. And hopefully Section 119, hopefully we get some we'll announce that in the coming weeks. We'll have to work on that. What we potentially might have going on there. But, yeah, that would be great if it can get up to 50% capacity for the outdoor venues. And what's it for Wells Fargo? 25? It would be indoor 25, right?
Wolf today said the state of Pennsylvania can go to 50% capacity.
Right, but it's still up to the city.
Up to the city, but that'll allow 20,000 and then 5,000 into the Wells Fargo Center. As of right now.
Yeah.
Wells Fargo could fit, 17,000, 18,000 for a hockey game? So you got to figure that might even get to 7,500 at some point.
Yeah, that's good news. And finally, one last thing. You might as well post this video because I know you have it. The person that won the Players' Championship yesterday, you have a good video of that guy.
I do. Hold on for
Justin Thomas winning his 14th career event.
Hold on. We got it.
You love this thing.
I think it's the best video ever. Do you know what he said on the final hole, by the way?
Justin Thomas, after his excellent approach shot, ran all the way toward the back of the green for birdie.
Dude, you gotta be fucking kidding me.
Well,
I love it.
Unfortunately, he said something else that he ended up losing his sponsor earlier in the year.
We also have another video too. I know he's watching.
Over there in Minnesota, guys. That's right. E-A-G-L-E-L Eagles, baby.
Jeremy.
For all you spelling champions out there.
We just had a spelling bee at the middle school, and they would have spelled Eagles right.
I'm sure. You probably got some bright middle schoolers that can spell better than certainly I can probably as well.
Absolutely.
They don't have to rely on spell check. So,
bad day for Polo.
Yeah. Polo drops him, and that's it.
That's it.
He goes on to win the Players. Masters coming up soon. Unfortunately, no Tiger, but obviously hoping that obviously
Tiger
he has
Tiger with one leg would get a bunch of coverage, and Mike Goletta would hate that as well.
Yeah, but obviously his health and him being, obviously trying to make it just a speedy, trying to make a recovery just for his lifestyle moving forward and being with his family is first and foremost, and golf takes obviously a back seat. But
so is he out of the hospital yet? Like, what's the deal?
It's been very quiet. I think Rory McIlroy tweeted some that, he talked to him and said that he was supposed to come out soon, but that was like last week. So I hope he did.
I didn't see the end of the golf tournament yesterday, but they said that I guess the crew should be ashamed of themselves because after Justin Thomas won, they asked him about Tiger Woods and they asked him about his grandmom. And it kind of dimmed his win to, kind of like an emotional time. But he'd asked about Tiger Woods during all of it.
All right. And also, before we sign off here, tomorrow night, tune into Matthew Barnaby, special guest tomorrow night.
Another one I wasn't asked to be on. That's okay. I'll remember that
former NHL player, hated in Flyer land, Buffalo Sabre, amongst some other teams. He will be on tomorrow night at 8:30.
Who got him?
I don't know. But anyway, that is it for tonight. Thanks for everybody for joining us again here on Sportsmanlike Conduct. Paul Macrie, Big B, Mike Velardi. Have a great night, everybody. Have a great week. Enjoy the March Madness coverage. Enjoy all the free agency frenzy in the NFL. We'll be back with another edition next Monday.
Thank you for watching the Unsportsmanlike Conduct Show on the Sports Box. Please remember to follow us on all of our social media outlets. On Facebook at Sportsbox Show, Twitter at Sportsbox Show, Instagram at The Sportsbox Show. Find us on YouTube and join Outside the Box, our Facebook sports discussion group. The Sports Box is brought to you by our sponsor, Showcase Sports in Hammonton. Showcase Sports for the elite athlete. And also our friends over at CrowdPlay. Download the free CrowdPlay app today and use promo code THEBOX at sign up for 10 free points. Thank you for joining us.